This is Harness Elite Daily. Your edge in all of today's harness racing action. Let's get into it.
Okay, it's July 5th. Welcome to Harness Elite Daily. Today's track of the day is Northfield. We've got 15 races to talk about, so we're going to jump right into it. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I hope you made some money at the Meadowlands. I'm recording this as the races are going on, so no spoilers for me. I'll have to check when the podcast is done to see how race 7, race 8 came in. Okay, so 15 races tonight at Northfield that we talked about. And that always in track of the day, just for context, track of the day means that you get free access to all of our premium reports at harnesselite.com. So to get access to those reports, you can do it by clicking on today's tracks and navigating to Northfield. That should be right at the top. And there you'll get our basic tip sheet, which is a computer analysis. There'll be links to the pace report. And also our value table, so it's a sort of order of priority in terms of which horses to select when betting underneath. So all that premium information is available again at harnesselite.com. But because it's track of the day, we also have a human handicapper that looks at the races, and that's Brett Reese, our track of the day manager. He won't be on the pod today, but I've got his picks, and we can sort of look and see what he thinks. Does it agree with what the computer model says or not? And again, all of this information you can download under free stuff, harnesselite.com free stuff, and then you'll get the full report for track of the day. All of Brett's information superimposed over with some of the computer information, and then all the raw computer reports. That's what I mentioned already. That's available at today's racing. Okay, so 15 races. Let's get right into it. Race 1, that's a 7,200 pace. We've got strong agreement here between the model and the human handicapper. So everybody seems to like number 3, Let Us Nip Ya A. Of course, ideally drawn here in the 3 spot, and also looks like a real chance here to control the pace from the front for that horse. Right, he's the fastest horse, the furthest inside when it comes to early speed. So that makes things a little bit easy there. Okay, so again, in that for that particular one, the model agrees with the model agrees with the human handicapper. Let Us Nip Ya A is also Brett's pick. Okay, pushing on for our second race, and just to give you some context before I talk about the second race, the human handicapper, his top choice, so in that example, race 1, the number 3, Let Us Nip Ya A, Brett's been winning about 30 to 35% of the time. The computer model also has picked that horse. Computer model at Northfield's winning about 45% of the time. Okay, so there's agreement between the model and the handicapper. Now, usually that means, especially because of the post, again, post position 3, the horse's early speed, right, we fully expect the horse to be bet down to super short odds. So the fact that the model and the handicapper agree doesn't necessarily mean that this is a value opportunity. It means the public is probably going to land on the same horse. And so you have to sort of plan accordingly and look for value underneath or in different ways when looking at that race. Okay, so that's the first race. Second race, race 2 is $11,200 trot. Here again, the ranking model, the algorithm agrees with the human handicapper. So Brett's selection, number 9, Don't Take My Keys Away. The algorithm also likes it's actually one of the algorithm's strongest favorites of the night. Now, of course, the 9 position is a variable, right? And like you'll need to get a price, I think, to bet this horse to win. Certainly, I think I would use him with exactas, and Brett suggests the 9 over the 1, over the 3, over the 6, but you could also see in our Northfield tip sheet, again under today's races, that we give you an ordered way to look at value underneath. Of course, when I play Northfield, I find that a heavily ranked top horse in the 9 position, so starting from the second tier, creates a difficult variable when it comes to pace. Right, the pace projections for the race don't normally hold up, and that adds that unpredictability to this, where how that horse leaves the gate, what happens in front of it, and how the sort of the chips fall. If he's parked, if he comes out with a clean second or third, right? Who knows, right? And that's the risk of betting on that 9 position. When it comes to Northfield, I always like this time of the year, so in the summer at Northfield, I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to play a race fundamentally on the question of pace. Northfield's got tricky upfront speed sometimes, and that's a variable that has to be closely considered. If the pace looks too hot, or it looks like multiple horses, including contenders, are all going for the lead, that could create some sort of pace collapse, and then essentially the race becomes unpredictable when the pace collapses. So just something to think about that with that. Okay, so again, that's race 2. The computer model, agrees with Brett's handicapping on the 9. Don't take my keys. Okay, race 3. We've got another agreement here. It's another dicey one. This is a $10,500 pace. The top ranked horse is the 8 billion, which is also Brett's top choice. Brett was impressed by Billion's previous start after pacing home in 27-4, despite being parked for the half mile. This was Brett notes as a strong performance, a much stronger performance than it looks on paper. So that sort of mitigates against the concerns of the 8 post that he was so strong to the outside. So I'm interested, right? Of course, the usual cautions with betting the 8 hole from Northfield. But again, that's race 3, and we have another race with agreement. Okay, race 4, heat check. Okay, this is, I believe this is Brett's best bet of the day. Heat check's a beaten favorite. It's the 5 horse. He failed his overwhelming favorite last time. Tonight's the night for redemption. We've got Noble driving. Heat check's got some early speed, and it doesn't look like there's much else in the race when it comes to early speed. And of course, the computer model agrees. So that's always a good sign. We've got agreement, we've got a beaten favorite, and we've got a top driver. And that's why it's Brett's best bet of the day. And for context, Brett's best bet of the day typically are winning 40 to 50% of the time. So you've got a heavy favorite there. Again, meaning to monetize this, you're going to have to be looking at, using the horse in exactas or in horizontal bets. Okay, so, or, sort of betting around him in horizontal bets too, right? So that was race 3. That was race 4, sorry. Race 5 is an $8,000 trot. Here we have our first core horse. Core, that's the name of the Harness Elite model that predicts winners at about 50% of the time, and that's the number 1, 352. Very, very strong horse. There's a disagreement here. Brett has number 3, Nacho Rodeo. So this is an interesting race because of that disagreement. One of the issues here is, I think, the driver with the 3. So take a look at that. Do your due diligence if it's a bet that you want to make. But depending on how this race is bet, there could be some opportunity here. Typically, core horses, so the number 1, are typically bet far down, but we don't know how the public is going to bet number 3, Nacho Rodeo, so there could be something there. Okay, race 6, this is a $12,000 pace. We have another core horse. Again, these are the ones that are winning about 50% of the time. Number 5, Cruising Over Fire is the core pick. That means he's got all the elements here, right? His form is projected to continue to improve. He's got a speed advantage. That speed advantage rises to the level of being considered dominant. So this is a really strong bet. Fast off the gate, so he's projected to be in the lead. Okay, so Brett doesn't agree though, right? Brett's got number 7, Southwind Judge. And, Brett's an angles handicapper, so he's looking at class more than the model, the data models that we use at Harness Elite look at class. So here's what Brett says. Southwind Judge exits, this is the 7, exits considerably tougher company at Woodbine and arrives off a victory. Although stepping slightly up the class ladder tonight, the back class here, I think, is what has attracted Brett to this horse. Okay, so he's suggesting a 7, an exacta with a 7 over the 2, the 5, and the 8. So I think, focusing in on the 5 and the 7 here makes a lot of sense. Maybe an ice cold exacta there as well. Okay, race 7. We've got $5,600 pace, so we're dropping down the ladder here for this one. The computer model, the basic model, is predicting Western BB number 2, mostly on the merits of a strong overall profile and gate speed. This looks pretty straightforward from the model's perspective. Brett agrees. He's also on the 2, Western BB. And again, he notes the early speed tendencies of the horse. And, this looks like a pretty chalky race overall, because the contenders are all on the insides, the 1, the 2, and the 3. But, essentially the 2 is the clear horse to beat. And, the usual cautions here about betting value. So far, this card looks pretty chalky and not very chaotic. That's just in terms of what the model thinks and what the handicapper thinks there, right? I mean, anything could happen at Northfield. The pace collapses. And, when you evaluate the pace for these races, you're definitely looking for races that have a lot of upfront speed where there could be a pace collapse. And then, you've got to do some homework to figure out who you want to be on in that situation. All right, race 8. We have another core bet here in number 5, Kobe Hanover. So this is the type of horse that's going to win 50% of the time. Brett agrees with this pick. So, favorite backers, seems to be pretty smooth sailing with this particular horse. And again, this is we're talking about race 8, $12,000 pace, and our top selection from the computer model, both a core pick and the top pick is Kobe Hanover, which is also Brett's pick. Brett did note, that there is some caution here that the pace situation is fragile. There are horses with more early speed to the interior of Kobe Hanover, and that could create a speed duel in the conditions that I was just talking about a minute ago. Okay, race 9, $14,000 trot. Here the model likes the 9, Royal Precedent, with all the caveats that I already mentioned, with the horse starting from the second tier. Brett likes number 7, Looks Like Money, and this is his value play of the night, mostly on the merits that Looks Like Money is 12 to line on the morning line. We don't think you're going to get 12 to 1. We don't even think you're going to get 4 to 1. But this horse is, again, has faced much tougher. He has the early speed that he needs to get to the front here. He's got an aggressive driver in Noble, and the class relief that I mentioned. So take a good hard look at this horse. He will be short, but that 12 to 1 might keep him from going really low. So this could be a great value play, and that's why Brett has noted him. And I did mention the computer model likes the 9. So this is a good situation. This is an interesting exacta race. You should definitely be thinking about who else you might want to use in the exacta. But anytime at Northfield where the two horses that you like, in this case the 7 and the 9, the 7 liked by Brett, the human handicapping, the pro handicapper, and the 9 liked by the computer models, both of those situations are flawed enough that, from a public betting perspective, they're flawed in that they won't be ultra short, right? They're not in great post positions. We've got one in the second tier, but a great driver. There's reasons, I think, to think that she could find some value in this race. All right, that was race 9. Race 10, $13,500 pace. Here, the core model loves number 7, Legendary Dura. And Brett agrees. He's also got the 7, Legendary Dura. This horse is coming out of a great race where he chased a blistering 149 mile. Even though he didn't win, the kind of competition that horse was facing was much, much better. Even though this is the 7 hole, we think this horse has got the horsepower to get this done. Possibly some, a little smidge of value here because of post position 7. Okay, race 11, it's $11,200 pace. Nothing from our Harness Elite core model in this race, but Harness Elite, the power rankings project number 1, Not Today, as the most likely winner. And that's at odds with Brett, who's got number 5, Burnham Boy. And, I should mention with Brett's handicapping here, his he does not have that horse, the number 1, Not Today, as one of his contenders. So here the model is really at odds with Brett. Brett likes the 5, the 4, the 7, and the 9. And like I said, the model likes the 1. So this is an interesting race where there isn't consensus. Although the computer model did like the 5 too. So the computer model is saying the 5 is interesting. Brett's saying the 1 isn't interesting. So when the two systems that we use don't match, and there's been a couple of races where they don't match, as a bettor and a player, this is a place to look and dig in deeper and maybe take a position with a win bet after you do a little bit more work, because the same issues that we see when we talk about this, right? Models and data versus humans is how the public is going to see the race. Or it's less likely for there to be a clear way the race is bet. And that creates opportunities, especially in horizontals and in the win pool. So I hope that's helpful and interesting to you. It's certainly interesting to me. Race 12, a $10,500 pace. Here we've got a Harness Elite core horse, number 3, Catch the Express. So very high percentage chance that this horse wins. It is at odds with Brett's pick. Brett's got the number 8, Nico. He does suggest an exacta box with the 3 and with the 8. So Catch the Express and Nico in an exacta box with the 5, which is interesting. Brett's expectation is that the 3 is going to catch most of the money. This is an interesting place where things don't agree. So take another look or a closer look at race 12. Decide for yourself, but focus in on the 3, the 5, and the 8. And again, that 8, Nico, the computer model does have that as a third choice. Human handicapper, our own Brett, has got that as his primary choice as well. Okay, race 13. It's an open handicap for 17.5. Nothing from the Harness Elite core model, but we do project that number 2, Racing Rampage, is the most likely winner. This is a very, very competitive race, though, that gets flagged both for a chaotic pace situation that often comes with these open races, and a really deep field. Brett's handicapping goes to the 7 Cadillac Bayama, really on the merits of speed here, as a seasonal mark of 149 and 4, making him one of the fastest horses of the card tonight. He could aggressively leave, and it sets up for him to control. That's Brett's analysis for this particular race, and so I think you should take a look. But between the 2 and the 7, or where the computer and the human handicapper goes. All right, race 14, $8,800 pace. We do have a core pick here. So again, these are the picks that win about 50% of the time. In number 5, Quick Trick. This is also Brett's top selection. So Brett agrees that Quick Trick is the most likely winner here. The question isn't who the likely winner is. We know that. It's more like, how do we make money with this? I think you should be looking at possible underneaths in the exacta. And again, harnesselite.com has got some tools for that as well. I should mention, when it comes to this race analysis, that all of it's available in a PDF called Track of the Day that has both the computer analysis and Brett's handicapping sort of fused into one place. You can also download, if you just want Brett's tip sheet, you can download that as well, again, on the Track of the Day page. So that stuff all lives under the tab Free Stuff off the homepage. Now, if you want in-depth the computer data, if you want access to the data, that's under Today's Races, and you navigate to Northfield. If you're a premium subscriber and you want the pace projections, then you'll need a login for most of that. But you can see some information at Today's Races. Okay, so I hope that helps you know where to go and how to use these great tools. Right, these are, using these tools and information is going to dramatically improve your ROI, right? Because we're sort of boxing in your opinions, right? You may agree with the computer or agree with Brett or have a totally contrary opinion, and we're doing the heavy lifting for you here of like understanding how the race might be bet, right? We've got both that human perspective and what Brett's providing, and we've got a computer perspective. Now, a big deal is made about CAWs and computer players and the kind of models that they use. And well, this model, the Harness Elite model, is exactly what computer players use. So when we talk about that model, you'll have a sense of how the race is going to be bet from computer players. So human perspective, computer perspective. When they agree, it's going to be ultra short. Now, what is the computer model not good at? And people ask me this all the time, and they say, well, there's so many elements of a harness race that a computer model can't account for. And that's completely right? 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, horses moving up in class. There are so many different elements of a harness race where there isn't a good, clean statistic. Trainers that are good with trotters, second off the climb, right? Whatever. There are so many scenarios that don't have clean data points that the computer doesn't get it right all the time, and nor will it. So the best bettors, I think, are using a little bit of information from the computers and a little bit of information from the human handicapper. Human handicappers do really well with class, with who's faced who, with difficult trips, with stepping up in class, with trainer stats, all that kind of stuff. The pro level handicappers are great. So what's the computer model good at? Well, the computer model is good at speed, right? And understanding without post position, driver, luck, pace getting in the way, who's actually the fastest, and is that speed projected to continue? And that's exactly what Harness Elite does in our rankings that I keep referencing, right? When I talk about our core horses versus who we project to win, these are all, essentially power and speed rankings around who we think is the fastest horse in the race. And what the computer can do that is difficult for the human eye to do is control for different tracks, control for different trips, for hidden speed, and come up with a much more nuanced understanding of how fast a horse really is that with the naked eye you might not come up with that same thing because you can't do all the sort of calculations, right? And now when you think about that, when you have this sort of advanced speed metric, where again coming from the computer models, where that becomes so critical to your betting is that if the way that number is derived is consistent and the application of how you use that number is consistent, that your betting will improve naturally, right? It's very important, right? Because the hardest part of being a handicapper or a bettor is like consistently applying, principles, strategies, and angles. And that's what sort of using computers and numbers gives you, is a very consistent way to look at a race, right? Like a top-ranked horse gives you an anchor point. It gives you the difference between the top-ranked horse and the second horse, like a numeric difference. So you have these data points that you don't have when you just look at the race on your own. Okay, I hope that gives you a little bit of context. We still got 2 races to go. Race 15, it's a $7,200 pace. The core model loves number 2, Bob's Redemption. This is not Brett's pick. Brett's pick's number 5, I'm the Prince. And, Brett notes that I'm the Prince has been breaking a lot recently. Undeniably the best horse if he can keep flat. But I'm the Prince definitely stands to win, and maybe win at a price if I'm the Prince breaks. Okay, so that was actually that's it. That's our 15 race card. So where does the computer model agree with the human handicapper? That's in race 1. Let us nip ya A, the number 3. That's in race 2, number 9. Don't take my keys. In race 3, number 8, Billion. In race 7, number 2, Western BB. Number 8, number 5, Kobe Hanover. Race 10, number 7, Legendary Dubra. And race 14, number 5, Quick Trick. Brett's best bet is in race 4. We talked about it, number 5, Heat Check. His value play is race 9, number 7, Looks Like Money. So we package all this information. It's in a PDF, so you can check it out. Let us know how you did at Northfield. We'll be up and about betting this card. And this has been Track of the Day with Harness Elite. And good luck.